All right, see how that sounds. Looking all right. So, let's not forget my glasses this time. If everything goes correctly, going to do some, got my bags here. Thanks BCW, appear to be the go-tos for a lot of this. Got 200 bags, got 200 boards. We're gonna clean up some of these oldies from probably mostly the 90s, but I mean, obviously this one, I just was doing that to get the focus, but not from the 90s this here Moon Knight. And why not start with that if you didn't see the Moon Knight video I put out not too long ago? I would recommend it. Me being me. I guess I better open these first. Guess I could put the chat back in. How far behind am I? Well, I guess we'll find out. I chose ultra low latency, so you'd think it was ultra low. So yeah, the reason I'm doing this is because obviously all of my bags and boards are from when I got the comics in the 90s, so I'm guessing there's more than a few in there that aren't acid free, as they say, but seeing as these are all two-sided, this the shiny side goes against the comics. This is how out of practice I am. But yes, that's the goal for today. I feel like I should be wearing gloves for some of this at least. So yeah, a little, little yellow there. I don't know if that comes across great, but certainly some yellowing over time with some of these. Also, I went ahead and grabbed the self-sealers. And since these all came at different points over the years, they're all sorts of different sizes. So it'd be nice to get some uniformity going in the collection. Which, back when I got these, I thought they'd be making me money more than costing me money, but at this point it's all about spending money on them to keep them. There we go. Look at that. Much better. I have a big old pile of trash after this. checking the internet for shiny side or not. Looks like shiny side has it, although some crazies out there disagree. Okay, what's up next? Got 200 bags and boards. I don't know how far I'm going to get, but we'll go little by little here. Oh, this is the other one I used for that show I just did recently, so no surprises here. Some of these I never had in bags and boards, but when I went through and gave my collection a once-over, I was like, might as well. At the very least for storage purposes. Come for the comics, stay for the ASMR. All right, now it's going to get interesting. I guess I could do one of these first before I start bagging it. The official comic book adaptation of the Golden Harvest motion picture. Wow, I repeatedly forget that that was literally a Golden Harvest production. This is easily one of my favorites from back in the day, so it is well worn at this point. But I remember going through probably Wizard. Oops, forgot to pay attention to what side I was using over here. Looks like I got the right one. We're good. And out of nowhere, this thing was worth like, I mean, none of what you saw in Wizard kind of held up, certainly over time. That was part of the 90s, but I remember at one point just looking it up because, you know, I had never thought it was worth anything really as is. And when I looked it up, it was like actually bringing in some money, which, why wouldn't it? If you really think about it. This is a little tight. This is a thicker comic too, so this is not loving the fit to this one, but better than what it was in. That's not so bad. Got, like I said, 200 bags and boards. I'm thinking just 100 tonight, if even that. If I ever start moving quickly at all. I may have gone through and put these in some sort of order at some point. Oh man, these look, oh. I collected more than a few Daredevil, but I think it was too advanced for me at the time because I should have been collecting them for the stories. Daredevil might be another one that weathered the 90s fairly well with the help of, was it Nascenti? And I guess I can just look at this book specifically. This was Yep, Nascenti, writer, Dwyer, artist, Fredericks, inker. Oh, I don't know. I don't remember necessarily ever buying a Daredevil comic. I also don't remember ever trading any comic books, so I think I'm just getting that old. I don't remember where a lot of these come from, just that I always liked Daredevil. Eventually that's going to be all it is. Going to be all I remember. Great cover, either way. Yeah, okay. So I did go through and put these in some kind of order, except for those first two, because I had taken those out recently. Another Daredevil. These are in horrendous condition. These are some of the ones that never were in any bags or boards. I had my comic book boxes that were all bagged and boarded, and then I had like just a box that had a bunch just laying in a pile. You know, never bagged and boarded them. Maybe never thought they were going to be worth anything, or whatever the reason. So eventually I came to that pile and was like, you know, it was around the time, embarrassingly recently, where I probably still thought at some point I would just sell my boxes of comics for hundreds upon hundreds of dollars. And finally gave up that notion. It was a combination of things. It was a combination of finally giving up that notion and realizing that what I truly valued about them, realizing, not to quote The Simpsons, but realizing that the sentimental value was through the roof. And this is a lot easier when it comes to comics from the 90s, had eclipsed the actual monetary value. So for the most part, I decided just to hang on to them because they're my comics. It's what you do. Done with Daredevil. On to Marvel Comics Presents number 100. You can guess why I probably bought this one. It was a nice round number. That was something that brought me out of the woodwork. Ones and 100s. Although I do remember, some older kids laughing at me at some point because I busted out, or I had bought a Batman comic. In fact, we'll probably get to those here in a few. And it was like, it might have been a Detective Comics, and it was like number, whatever they were up to, 600 and something or whatever. And I remember those older kids laughing at me like, it's never going to be worth anything. Because it was all about the numbers. I mean, they were right. But not necessarily for the reason maybe they thought. Then I ended up with a fair amount of New Warriors. At least I feel like. Actually, maybe just two. I remember the New Warriors, which is something. I feel like it's not a team I continue to hear about, or even though Bagley was on it. In fact, this might be a Bagley. Yeah, this is Bagley. I feel like I've read something with Night Thrasher in it fairly recently, even. Trying to remember how I ended up with some of these at all. I must have gone for a grab bag or two somewhere along the way. X Factor I loved, but not enough to keep buying it. I just remember the storylines being Yeah, it was probably the Peter David years too, right? Written by Peter David. Oh, and was it Quesada? No, Stroman. Yeah, I liked Stroman too. I liked what he did. He was an artist that seemed to have his own style that I enjoyed. And I think this is attached or adjacent to the storyline where Madrox's multiple man, it's when he figures out that his dupes are sentient to some degree, which I thought was a brilliant storyline. I liked Cannonball, because he was from X-Force. So, actually, that was probably it. I skipped around a lot depending on where X-Force went. And they showed up in another spot, in another book, I would get that book. These aren't in horrible condition. These are the ones I think that were always bagged and boarded to some extent. I don't know if we're definitely, okay. Definitely not looking at any mint conditions or anything like that, but. I like sliding it in with the board is probably the way to go. Looks like it might be the last of X Factor. This I always thought was a really cool story. I got a few one-offs here and there. This had, because I bought Wolverine, I bought Ghost Rider, and Punisher, but I mean, pretty cool. Kind of a thicker stock. Oh, bunch of garbage on the cover. Crusty something rather. Food. Again, was not as diligent as I could have been. It's a good thing I don't care, right? Anymore. This one I never bagged and boarded because it was so thick. I'm like, oh, it's just like a paperback book. Why would you bag and board such a thing? Or maybe it didn't fit because it's not fitting right now. I think we can make it fit. Tightly, but it's fitting so tightly it feels like it's bending it, which can't be good. Ooh, coming up on the Valiant. Exo Manowar. Shiny. That's a all I can tell you about that one. Because I don't remember a single other thing about the story or otherwise. And it's like a different type of shiny too. It's not embossed, it's like flat back. It's all silvery weird. Quesada cover though. Totally forgot he ever did any Man of War. Let's just double check here the chat's working. I popped it out. Hello. Okay, here's to be working. Magnus Robot Fighter. How's Vin Diesel doing on the VCU there? The Valiant Cinematic Universe. Is it still just is it Bloodshot? This is in really good condition, actually. This might be an actual, probably not. I was gonna say an actual mint, but that means so much more. You're like, oh, it's not perfectly centered. Like, well, that's not. That seems like we shouldn't be counting that. I guess I could call these out as I go for those of you hanging out in the background, maybe. I feel like I've been doing that, though. The Second Life of Dr. Mirage. Couldn't tell you a single thing about this one either. I'm just going to have to stop saying that, too, because that's going to be a common theme. Another book that feels like I never cracked it. Ah, yes. Deathmate. Which I believe I am missing one of. And I always thought was my fault. But if you go back and read about the history of Deathmate, I guess it was kind of a mess. So there's a chance it wasn't my fault. It's not looking too bad. Guessing this one's going to be another tight fit. Deathmate was the Valiant Image crossover, by the way. Yeah, it's a little tight. Probably going to be a few more death mates, or one more. Is there only 3? I feel like there was 4. This one always did have a crease right there. I think it had that when I got it, if I remember. I did do a lot of mail ordering, actually, back in the day. Just run right through that catalog and check off all the number 1s and shiny editions and whatever else anybody was doing to trick me into buying comics, and just go with it. This is an ash can, but it looks like a... If I remember correctly, an ash can was like a preview book they would make before making the real one. So they would get out to collectors, but then they would also do like ash cans. Oh, it's not an ash can. Like specifically for collectors. This is like a glorified flyer. This probably shouldn't even be in a bag or a board, but who am I to judge? Not that, again, I'm in this for the money at this point, but sometimes those weird ones, you never know. Sometimes you know. Another ash can. And I'm probably going to open up and see that it's another glorified flyer. Hopefully I didn't buy these. I feel like these probably came... Another hero. Is this... I'm blanking on... Hero. Yeah, not really an ash can. Probably shouldn't be. We could double up. We could put this in the back of Batman over there. Yeah. Yeah, let's do it, actually, yeah. Because they're very small. And at some point, I think I have over 200 comics. So there's a chance I do run out of these at some point. So doubling up probably isn't the worst idea. Especially, again, for these. They probably aren't worth it. Supreme. Definitely... I mean, for the initial run of Image, I probably got every number 1. For Supreme, I definitely never went past number 1. Although I want to say Liefeld was involved in some way, right? Yeah, creator, writer, inker. Yeah, so since it was Liefeld, I went in. I was a big Liefeld fan. X-Force was always my book. When he left to do Image, I got all the Youngbloods and the, well, for a little bit. I didn't collect comics for too much longer after the whole Image kerfuffle. A couple more and we'll reset the stack there. Bloodstrike. Another Liefeld cover. Another beautiful crease right there. Not Wolverine. All right. Setting these aside, let's reset the stack here. Nice and uniform. Look at that. Trencher. Can't remember who the artist is. As distinct as that is. Created, written, and drawn by Keith Giffen. Kind of doesn't ring a bell, actually, strangely enough. Looks great. Okay, looks like we're going into the Malibus now. I must have... Again, I think I was number one hungry. I forget the story behind Malibu too. I want to say like it's somewhat Image published or assisted or something like that. It was the 90s. You could do anything you wanted. Create your own comic book company. Make a character called Hardcase. Make millions. Prime. Like, I can't tell you about most of these, but I especially can't tell you about any of the Malibu comics. Shadowhawk. This was a weird one. It was a mini series. I think right first they only went to 3 and then restarted, so it was like I have 2 Shadowhawk number 1s. I remember correctly, it was the Valentino book, I believe, right? Yeah. Maybe the least remembered founding father of Image Comics. You know? I guess anybody besides McFarlane and Liefeld and Jim Lee, obviously. Yeah, never mind. Forget I said anything. Again, I'm very old and I do not remember things correctly. See, yeah, this is like, I think this is another #1, but it's like Shadowhawk. Barely see it. 2? Shadowhawk 2? I was just getting used to Shadowhawk 1. Just kidding. I don't remember anything about either of them at all. I do have all these digitally. At one point I went and stole all of the comic books I own physically in digital format. Obviously, having the book in your hand is infinitely preferable, but where not possible. That's a die cut too, right there. The Max. I was a Keith fan, although I didn't know until fairly recently that he was the Sandman guy. The initial, I believe, initial artist on Sandman, which is just perfect. I never saw the animated show of The Max. Heard it was pretty good. Youngblood Strike File. No idea how that's different from Youngblood itself. Maybe it's like a Punisher Armory, which I got an issue of because I liked the Punisher. And then I was like, wait, this is just about guns. I don't know if I want to read this. I don't know if I'm that into guns. More into the Punisher than I am the guns. The Gunisher? Yeah, I got them all digitally and still have yet to Deathblow, the comic book. Got them all digitally and have yet to avail myself of that. This one actually you can kind of see. Yeah, there's a picture of him. He's in there. I have gone back. I did try with X-Force, I think more than once at this point, and just kind of fell off. Not as compelling as those pictures led me to believe when I was a young, impressionable child. Shaman's Tears. Maybe the first, or there's some landmark Native American bit about it, you know, written, produced, owned. I should probably be dusting some of these off. How the dust gets in there, anybody's guess. I do have actual gloves. Should I be wearing those? Skin oil, a real big deal. It's kind of a the death blow treatment there. Didn't stray too far from what was going on there. Darker Image. I don't remember what this was all about. But if I remember correctly, it is bagged itself, right? Yes. I did growing up. Oh yeah, it comes with a card. Like oh. I was about to say, I've got a lot of copies of this, and I'm not sure why. I bet each copy has a different card in there. That's probably what I was doing. I like Jay Lee a lot, too. That's some good stuff right there. I did. I remember the day I learned, or the day somebody said to me, it was Isaac Best. Any Isaac Best fans out there? Good guy. When we were childhood friends, at least. We lost touch over time, but Isaac Best, I remember him. It was I had gotten X-Force #1. What's the card in here? Yep, there's the Max. Came in that one. In fact, I'm having a flashback now. I think that was part of the deal with the mail order I was using. It was like order one of each. I think that was like a box I could check even. So I did. But yeah, I remember I had opened up X-Force #1, which we might actually get to here. And he said something along the lines of, like, what if that made it decrease in value? I was like, no, that's stupid, my friend. Why would that ever be a thing? I said to him. Blood Wolf in that one. And it was not long after that, yes. Forget how I actually found out, but removing it from the bag decreased its value. I think I later acquired a bagged, still bagged copy of X-Force #1, so not all was lost. If ever anything was. Still going on the Darker Image. Last one here. Who's the card going to be? Probably, who have we not done? I think that's all 3 of them. Why would I have 4? The Max again. Got 2 with the Max for some reason. But that signaled the beginning of me not reading a lot of comics that I bought because I wouldn't take them out of the bag. Me, I was not a speculator like, the majority of collectors back then? No. Patronizers, maybe. The ones that went all out. Speculators bought a lot. Obviously enough to sustain the market there for a while. I was not one of those, for the most part. Obviously, although I did buy multiples of some. We see. Stormwatch number 1. There's a chance. So I have 2 collections of comics. My dad did become a speculator, although I did see him reading a few here and there. He was not above actually cracking open the books, but he did also buy some collections that he just put in a closet. And none of what we're doing so far, I don't think, is that. I think these are all books that I myself got, although the multiples are kind of throwing me because I feel like I didn't buy multiples. So Stormwatch number 1 again. So there's a chance maybe some of these are mixed in. Because the end of that story is, I don't know, some amount of years ago, I went through and priced out all my dad's comics and then bought them out. So if I combine those collections, maybe that's what I'm seeing here to some extent. That'll be a different stream, though. And that'll be a much more interesting stream. This one's going to be, as you may have been able to tell by now, extremely 90s heavy. This is an actual ash can, I believe, that made it to... This was the most expensive comic book I had for a long time. I believe I paid that $14.95 for it on the sticker, which was huge back in the day. San Diego, just kind of barely make that out. San Diego Comic-Con, probably, right? Or what it just says San Diego 92, and it's hard to see what's at the bottom, so it's probably Comic-Con or whatever it was in 92, right? Yeah, it's just a cardboard looking thing, and if you look inside, it's like a dry run, you know, what's the comic book going to be type thing. I get that on camera, good gosh. This one's double-sided. Remember the actual comic book came out like that. Cannot read that anymore. San Diego 92. That's all I got. Sorry, guys. Wonder what that's actually worth. How you even look those up? Gotta be something, right? Gotta be out there somewhere. Youngblood number 4. Are we going backwards now? Have we been going backwards? I haven't noticed, actually. This is thick. It's a thick book. How long have we been going here? 52 minutes? Yep. I think we're going to make it through 100 books. About ready to get a new stack going, though. Youngblood, let me guess, number 3? Youngblood number 3. I don't even remember these characters' names. Actually, that's not true. Is that Chapel? Is that the guy that killed Spawn? Or the guy who was Spawn? Is the guy who killed Spawn in Youngblood? Seems like a detail I would have remembered. Was it Chapel that killed Spawn? Chapel. Sounds like a character. Unless we go longer than an hour, which I guess is always a temptation. slippery. Still on the Youngblood. Number 2. I don't know what the batteries look like on either of these cameras, so it might not matter in a second here. Anyways, oh, take that back. That one's almost dead. We can actually plug that one in, though. Arguably should have done that sooner. Nope, don't want to do that. Flying blind here, guys. Come on, go in there. There we go. Bingo. If that one's almost dead, can't wait to see what the other one's looking like. 77%. We've got 77% of a stream that we can do. Oh, Youngblood. Yeah, they're Youngblood number 1. Is this a double-sided cover? Because that is not the cover I remember for Youngblood number 1, actually. In fact, I feel like the cover of Youngblood number 1 looks like that ash can I just did. Youngblood number 0. When number 1s weren't enough. Look, here's one that came even sooner. We wrote it later. Prequels were a big thing in the 90s. Trust me. Still going with the Youngblood. And another number 0. All right. A different Rob Liefeld book. Brigade. Anybody remember Brigade? Tell me one thing about Brigade. Brigade number 1. Fold out cover. Nice trifold. Still waiting on something you know about Brigade. One fact. Name a character from Brigade. Are any of these books still going? Brigade number 2. I mean, I guess we haven't got to them yet, but I know Spawn is still going. Oh, this one came with some cards. Oh, well, this'll be interesting when this comes up later. This was one of the books you needed to clip a coupon for image number 0. It also came with some cards, you can see right there. And of course, I clipped it. Did I have 2 of these? No. Am I going to have 2 of them? No. Maybe that's why I bought 2 of something every now and then. Because I do have image number 0. It's not going to be in this lot. In fact, I think it's all by itself on a bookshelf in like 3 separate things. That ended up being worth anything? Image number 0? Seems like it should have. Brigade number 2. Coupon clipped out. Worth millions. Brigade number 1. This also feels like it has something in it. It does have some cards. But no image coupon. I did not cut this one apart with scissors. All right. Moving on to Cyberforce, which was the Silvestri book. I was a big Silvestri fan by way of Wolverine. I bought a lot of his run on Wolverine. Followed all the artists to their image titles. Also, there's an image documentary out there. And I believe everybody calls out Silvestri as being the actual most talented of the founders. Cyberforce number 3, I think. Again, isn't that what I just did? Yeah, so maybe this also had a coupon inside. Nope. Just got more than one for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I do sell these someday. Doesn't seem worth it at this point. Cyberforce number 1. What's it about? Nobody knows. Did I read these? That's another great question. When I got them in the 90s, did I read them? I don't remember them. That's almost to be expected at my age. But did I read them at all, ever? Couldn't tell you. Savage Dragon. Just checking them off here. Savage Dragon number 3. Larson, Eric Larson. I followed from Spider-Man. Huge Eric Larson fan. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but this is going to ruffle some feathers either way. Liked Eric Larson better than Todd McFarlane. Certainly as far as Spider-Man books went, but We can all get along, right? Savage Dragon and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Can't think of a better marriage. Savage Dragon #2, but Savage Dragon I think had the same thing going on where there's a mini-series and then an actual series. So there's like, a lot of the image titles had like a launch mini-series. So there's a few, kind of brilliant. There's a few #1s. You could buy a #1 and then later on buy another #1. What a deal. Thinking this box holds way more than 100 comics. Savage Dragon #1. Intense Action from Eric Larson. The Wildcats trade paperback. It is also bagged until I cut this board it's in so it would fit. It looks like it comes with #0 bundled inside. Still unopened. I feel like this is not going to fit. There's no way, right? I just have to use that board again. Yeah, there is absolutely no way. So it's in a bag, so if that is acidic, shouldn't be too big of a deal, right? Right. I think that's the only way we're getting this in. Young me knew it then. Old me is conceding now. You were right, young me. I don't know if it's going to fit in the new bag at all, though. Yeah, sure. Fits as well as the other one. I didn't buy a whole lot of trades. Not sure why I have this one, honestly. Oh, it was for the 0. That's got to be why. It's for the #0. This is much tighter than that other bag. At some point I'm just squishing the comic, right? That's not actually preserving it all that well. Maybe I lose the board altogether. Almost what's the point then, though, right? Okay, carefully got the bag on. Again, pretty tight though. Not sure I'm doing anything any favors here. Almost want to go back to the original setup. This one. get some different I guess I don't know. Not really worth buying a whole bunch of different sizes, right? For 3 comics. Yeah, it's a little more manageable. Leaving it in the old bag. The whole thing is bagged anyway, so whatever. And we are definitely into the Wildcats portion of our show. Number 4. Wildcats was Jim Lee's book when he went over to Image, which I believe his publishing arm was Wildstorm. Does that sound right? Because that was the big deal with Image, right? Creator owned. No publishers telling him, or no, managers telling him what to do. Another Wildcats number 4. Oh, here we go. Bagged. So I bought one that I could unbag for whatever reason, and one that I could leave in the bag. Because I was a savvy businessman. Where did I get all this money? I wasn't working. It must have been pure allowance. Wildcats number 3. I don't know. I might get through 100 comics here. Over halfway there. Not at all halfway through this box, so that means I definitely have more than 200 in my collection. It's a long box, so I'm guessing that's actually a 200 plus box. I have some short boxes too, but this one I believe was also bagged at one point. I think Wildcats number 2, very shiny. I'm not wrong, this is the one that had the Image number. Why was that in? It was in 2 different bags. It's triple bagged. If it still has the original bag. It does not. So it was double bagged. I think this is the one that had the Image number 0 coupon for Wildcats. Let's see if I'm wrong. That's that cover again. It's a nice one. And there it is. Ooh, interesting. It does have the Image number 0 coupon, but I didn't cut it out. Wonder if we've got another one of these coming. Wonder what was in Image number 0. What was that comic actually about? Anybody? Wildcats number 1. That's got something in it too. Cards. First, senses shattering issue. Johnson and Stroman's Tribe. Ask me anything about Tribe. I don't even remember a Tribe number 2. Is there? Did this book go on at all? Also, it looks like these were $2.50 a pop. That is insane. How much was I spending on these every month? How much was Wildcats? $1.95. Yep, there's another. Close to retiring that pile. Ah, here's the crowd pleaser. Spawn, number 4. I may have liked Eric Larson better than Todd McFarlane, but that wasn't going to stop me from... was Spawn my favorite Image comic? I mean, it's certainly... Is it the only one left of all these that I'm doing? I know it holds the record now for the longest running independently published series. Is that what it came out to? I actually remember the story of it. How much of that is because of the movie? Spawn number 3. Who knows? It's been a while since I watched that too. Michael Chai White. What a cool dude. Yeah, Spawn is the one I remember more than any of the others. Remember reading it, remember the storyline. Spawn number 2. It's not even a McFarlane cover, is it? Yeah, it might be. Yep, it is. Ignore me. These aren't bad. These aren't mint. Obviously, nothing is, again, but for comics I certainly read and reread, these aren't looking too bad at all. And we'll retire that pile with Spawn number 1. Kind of some worn corners on this one for sure, but also not bad. Okay. The spiritual successor, or I guess precursor to Spawn. Ren and Stimpy, number 6 here. I got some like comedy ones in here. Who remembers the Marvel series What the? Not what if. What the? Question mark. Got at least one of those. Dig the art though. I wonder if that's actually that horrible man. Let's pretend not. Still going. Ren and Stimpy number 1. I have the first Ren and Stimpy comic. Oh, we've got a scratch and sniff something in here. Wonder if this was bagged. Did I take it out of the bag? Scratch my face, man. It smells musty. I don't know if that's his fault necessarily, so I'm not sure what to do with that. I don't really want to put it up against the comic. I'm going to keep it in the front now. Yeah, let's do it. Put it inside, first page. Okay, so the Kings of Pain annuals. I don't know if anybody's going to remember this storyline besides me, but I got hooked. I reread these things a million times. Really liked them. I think it was, I don't remember who this dude is on the cover. I don't remember who that guy is, but I thought it was I think a Proteus storyline. X-Men, Kings of Pain. It's also the first time I remembered or saw like an annual crossover, you know, like for the annual books of all these titles. There was actually a crossover storyline. This is actually a Magnolia cover. Uncanny X-Men annual. This bag's got a defect. It's a little scrunched up weird at the bottom. Strange. I'll live with it because again, I'm gonna burn through all these. Maybe through the 100 tonight. Definitely through the 200 by the end. New Warriors, Kings of Pain annual. Who were the Kings of Pain? I don't remember. Really liked this story that I don't remember. I remember liking it. That's a thing. We do that. Not loving. These are going in a little warped. I feel like that can't be good, obviously. And New Mutants Annual Kings of Pain. Which, if I had to guess, was probably the last New Mutants Annual. Probably came out pretty close to the end of that series. Which is when I came into it. I came into X-Force, I think, without having purchased any New Mutants, but eventually I learned that X-Force was born out of the end of New Mutants, and of course I learned about Cable's first appearance and Deadpool's first appearance and all that. So it became a book that I did enjoy. So it was a little tight. I do not love it. Or these books that aren't worth anything. And it'll probably give a little overtime. Well, here we go. Ready? X-Force 24. And we might just go one by one all the way down to the beginning with this series. So if you're an X-Force fan, you're in luck. This was after Liefeld left, judging by the cover. I did keep going with X-Force for a bit, even though Liefeld wasn't around. But not very long. Actually, I might have kept going just up until I stopped collecting. It's very possible. What was that, 24? 23. Domino triumphant over Deadpool. Will it be 22? It will be 22. X-Force 22. I wonder if the core, if this version of X-Force is still going. I know I'm pretty sure at least there is an X-Force book currently in publication, but I don't know if it's this same volume. #21, War Machine. You'd think these would be in very good condition, because I feel like I would not have read them more than once. #20. cooking now. I'm going till I get these 100 books and boards done. So there you go. That's my promise to you. Not too bad, right? What are we doing? 10 p.m. Why not? Maybe I can even get through X-Force. 19. It looks real messy over here. Next, number 15. Did I skip a few issues there? Did I actually not collect them all? Oh, this board is real jacked up. Deadpool's back. Somebody trying to do their best. Liefeld there, maybe. Certainly with Deadpool. These ones I do want to go back and read because I barely remember what Deadpool was like before what he's like now. I feel like he was the merc with the mouth pretty early on. That was a thing, but he was definitely a bad guy. And oh, all right, 14. X-Force 14. A bad guy and not so funny, if I remember correctly. Not a Ryan Reynolds type, if you will. $13. Ooh. This one's got maybe some bleed through on it. That board's looking real nasty. I don't know how it would have bleed through. No, just must have been on something else at some point. That cover might have been something of a revelation, 12. The cable cover there you're looking at, because I don't know that we knew how cybernetic he was necessarily. So seeing half of his face like that might have been something of a surprise. This cover, those are externals, mind you, not eternals, of course. Ooh, I think we are back in the Liefeld era with 11 here. And a pretty decent cover at that. Domino versus Deadpool. Again. Domino revealed? Domino's first appearance, maybe? I don't know. I feel like she was part of X-Force before this issue, so I'm going to say no on that one. I don't remember Domino before X-Force, though, so I might just have her first appearance. Default. not a Liefeld cover for number 10. Strife. I don't think I ever read X-Force until the Strife storyline was all resolved. I don't think I actually knew why he looked like Cable. I mean, I remember the reason ended up being he was a clone. I don't know if that panned out or not. Almost time to retire the pile. Back to Liefeld for number 9. Turning Point, Cable, past, present, and future. I don't even know if they stuck with... I mean, at some point, Cable was Cyclops and Jean Grey's son from the future, right? Wasn't that it at some point? Did they retcon that? Because... I don't know. I don't know what stuck. Casualty of War. X-Force number 7. Alright, let's retire that pile. Let's try to retire it farther away. There we go. Number 6, nice Sauron cover there. What's that? Featuring the Cable Guides. What the heck is a Cable Guide? I'm intrigued. Not enough to look. Force number 5. Looks like the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants there. Force number 4. So this is a controversial crossover in my book. Spider-Man came to X-Force, and X-Force went to Spider-Man, I believe. Spider-Man 15, 16, something like that, maybe 14. And McFarlane, I mean, I hate to think the deadline they probably had back then. Juggernaut, X-Force number 3, but McFarlane absolutely butchered X-Force. Like, they looked horrible. Looked like he drew them in about 5 minutes flat. I don't know. But that is the actual moment I got soured on McFarlane a little bit. Hardly fair, right? X-Force number 2. The X in there is actually, I think, shinier than normal. Yeah, they used some sort of ink there. Deadpool is back. Obviously, he's fighting this guy because they have some sort of Blood Brothers thing going on. You know, that guy. No idea who he is. Huh. We did not go all the way to X-Force number 1. Interesting. We're going straight to X-Force Annual number 1. I bet this is going to be another tight fit. Nope, not bad actually. Nope, I lied. Nope, not bad. And the Cable miniseries, number 2. I don't think I have number 3. Really good looking books. Really good looking covers by John Romita Jr. Who is still out there doing good looking covers for things. This is the mini-series. I guess Image wasn't the only one doing it, were they? This was the mini-series that would come before the actual Cable solo book. This is the first issue. Oh, does it say 1 of 2? 1 of 2! I do have both of them. Look at that. Why did they do that? I came across a few of those talking about my Moon Knight show also. Did they do miniseries to see how they sell and to see if they're going to do a full-on series? Is that a normal thing that I'm just now realizing? Speaking of which, here's the actual Cable series that came after. Cover by... I don't know. Who did that cover? Kind of nice. You know it's a collector's item when they tell you it's a collector's item. Cover quite possibly by... Art Thibert. Yeah, that looks like Art Thibert. kind of signature, but I swear that looks like him. You tell me. I'll put it up here in a second. Looks like we've got maybe 10 more to go. There's the X-Force #1. Oh, second printing. That happened a couple times, not, I don't want to say very often, where I would get a comic and it would turn out it was a second printing. I think most of the time I knew what was going on. And I want to say it was like the gold background was something they did for second printings to kind of clue you in. Or maybe I'm just extending what I remembered about X-Force #1, because that's what was going on there. Here is the X-Force #1 that I'm pretty sure I opened. I think X-Force #1s came with collectible cards, is why I opened it. Yeah, so this is not in the bag. But I do believe when I bought my dad out of his comics, I got a bagged X-Force #1 in there somewhere. So it was kind of a cool little make good. Still gonna bag it. Oh yeah, New Mutants #100. Did I get this when it came out? This was the final issue of New Mutants. I feel like that was something I ordered after the fact. Although why would I have? Nothing too terribly special about 100 other than it being the last and kind of the maybe springboard for X-Force. I don't know. Maybe I did buy this on the newsstand. And I did knowingly buy this second printing of the New Mutants 87. Yeah, first appearance of Cable. Not sure why I would knowingly buy a second printing. I guess maybe just to get the story, because there's no other way back then. It has Liefeld and McFarlane on it. Oh yeah, I think Liefeld did the Cable and McFarlane did the insets there. Would be my guess. Still gonna bag it. Okay, now we're getting serious here. I don't think I'm gonna be able to fit these all in. Let's see if there's a more appropriate title to go out on here. There's not. All right, we're gonna partially make our way through the Executioners song, an X-Men crossover saga. And if you're thinking, wow, I feel like crossovers are things that you often hear about, why haven't I heard of this one? Well, take a wild guess. Word is it's not great. I wouldn't know, because they're all bagged. So you know I didn't read them. I need to, want to. It's just a huge mystery now at this point. X-Men, Executioner song, X-Men 16. looks like I'm going to have more bags than boards here. Got 2 more bags and 1 more board. So I believe I have been ripped off. You think they gave me not enough boards, or do you think they gave me too many bags? What's your vote? 1 extra bag. So yeah, did I get shorted on bags, or did I get extra'd on boards? That is the cover right there. X Factor, Executioner's Song. I'm going to say Jay Lee on that one. Jay Lee. Right there in the corner. Some things you never forget. I'll put this on camera B. You have a look at Jay Lee's beautiful artwork. While I search through all of the boards and pick the least scary one to put in my bag. None of them are especially white. The ones that are white, I feel like have other issues too. You've been noticing that at one point I went through and priced them all out. This one was worth $8.50. Thanks, Wizard Magazine. I'm gonna go with this one. Feel like I've seen worse. Maybe in my other bunch of boards, they gave me an extra. Just remember, it's for the Uncanny X-Men number 296, Executioner's Song. Oh, this is going to be too big, isn't it? Yep. You're a big board, buddy. This one looks pretty white. It's like some color is rubbed off on it though, but again, we're in a bag, so I don't feel super bad about it with these. All right, that's some decent art too there. Is that Thibbert again? No, that is Brian Peterson, I think is his first name. It's definitely Peterson. Yep, I'm going to say I at least got 100 more left in this box, and I've got 2 more half boxes, so we're looking at maybe at least 300 more comics. So we're going to need a bigger box. Thanks for hanging out. If you hung out, see you next week.